and we corrected from there by almost like 10%. Now, what next is the question Nifty on Nifty would everyone would want to know from you, Dipesh.
So, good evening, everybody. So already Manoj has introduced me and I've been associated with them since a very long time now. So firstly, taking a call on Nifty. So I think a few days back we had this webinar of Crown where we spoke about a 10% upside and around 9,900, 10,000 were the levels which we had basically mentioned that there's a possibility that April month itself we might see a 10% rise. And exactly on 28th April only we achieved the 9,900 mark basically. So yeah, fortunately also and backed by some derivative plus technical data, things went well in place. So first disclaimer, these are all views which has high probability of achieving things what I say. They are not something that one should just go ahead and trade it before understanding any risk associated to it. So I would always confirm before taking or initiating any trades based on the views, just reconfirm it either with Manoj Bhai or anybody you are comfortable with. So taking the Nifty from two perspective, a very short period, which is from 7 to 15 days, and a little longer perspective from 2 months to 3 months perspective, where are we heading towards? So if you see this chart of Nifty, so we've just rose from 7,500 levels to 9,900 levels in a very staggered manner if everybody sees. So the fall was very sharp and the rise is very staggered. So firstly, it indicates one thing very clearly: there is no fresh buying interest in the markets. Whatever buying is happening in the market is in the form of very staggered manner. By staggered, I mean is that sometimes up, sometimes down, indecisiveness basically. So it is going up, it is coming down, going up, coming down, but eventually it is going down on the higher side. Now we are standing at exactly 50% retracement of the overall fall. So if somebody would just know about certain things about retracements, so we are standing at around 50%. This is the 50% retracements. If you can see, this is the 50% retracement. Basically 99. We are standing there. Now, ideally, what happens after this retracement? We again retrace back 50% of the overall. Okay, am I being disconnected again? I think on my desk. Can everybody see my screen?
No, your screen sharing is off.
Okay, just hold on for a second. Is it seen now?
No.
Not yet.
1 second.
Okay. It's saying you can see it. You are sharing screen. Stop share. Okay, I'll stop it and reshare it.
Yeah.
Okay. I will just switch off my internet and reconnect it through some another internet. Okay, again, I will share my screen again.
Yeah, probably we can see it now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Got it.
Okay. So this first 50% retracement is over. So usually whenever a bear phase starts, we usually see a 50% rise from the bottoms, but nobody knows where is usually the bottom. Now touching 50% confirms the bottom once for a very medium to 3 to 6 months perspective. I don't see bottoms of 7,500 rebroken or retested anywhere between 3 to 6 months now. For all those speaking, it has to be backed by data. I don't know is there any data to it or no. Okay, now the road ahead from here is if we see if we have seen a rise of from 7,500 to 9,900. Again, there is high possibility that we might see a 50% retracement of this overall rise. So going below 9,300 right now has confirmed the same, that we might retrace back up to levels of 8,700 from a medium term perspective. So if you ask me from 7 to 14 days perspective, 8700 is the maximum fall what one can see from here. Between 8700 and 8900, value investors or positional investors who are looking down to buy stocks at a little lower value can step into market, buy their first tranche or second tranche or whatever tranche they are looking for to buy in the market in a staggered manner. So I think 8700 and 8900 is a very good level. One can go ahead and initiate positional longs in the market for once and for all. The overall outlook stop loss would be a 61.8% retracement, which is this. I don't think so. We will be closing anytime below this 8400 level soon. So from a month to 3 months perspective, I think 8400 is a short-term bottom after 7500. So I don't think so. In 8400 is a very strong bottom for now. Going ahead, I think after post a retracement, we might go back again to levels of 10,000 at least. I'm not sure about we will break that and we will go higher. How higher? I don't know. But at least we will go ahead and see this top being retested again. So for the month of May, I think 8700, between 8700 and 8900 is a very good level to look for. We might again bounce back to levels of 10,000, which is again around 15% rise from those levels. So I think a very good trading perspective in terms of ROI also is concerned. Look for good stocks at that point of time. And I think that's just one small thing, which is always my forte and my USP, which I always see, is the open interest data on Nifty. Okay, so this is the overall look of Nifty basically in terms of options are concerned. These lines, this middle is the open interest lines where it is standing right now. This is the 7th May expiry. The pink ones are put, the blue ones are calls. So for all those people who might not know about options, I just excuse me for 5 minutes. I'm just going through a few option data here. So for this expiry, I think 9,000 should be protected for tomorrow. Going ahead for the month expiries build up, you see this. The highest put build-up continues to stand at 9,000 only at the monthly build-up also. So despite if we fall below 89,000 levels and go towards between 8,700 and 8,900 also, I think May expiry ideally should go above and remain above 9,000 levels only. Because that confirms me, because the highest open interest on the call side is not standing at 9,500, is standing still at straight 10,000 levels. So the call writers here are confirming that the 9,500 is not the immediate support level. I think it is the 10,000 level, which is an important level for them. So nobody's selling options below 10,000 when it comes to selling heavy options. And on the lower side, people are still comfortable on the 9,000 puts. So this confirms me a couple of things, that 8,700 and 8,900 would be a very good level to get into the markets, maybe in a staggered manner or a straight manner with a positional stop loss of 8,400 and a positional target of 9,500 followed by 9,900, what the recent top was.
Oh, great. So Dipesh, that was a very good overall view that you gave on the market in terms of the index, which is Nifty. So what just to summarize, as you said in your last statement, that we are right now in a consolidation phase. On a downside, you don't see a fall below 8,700 or at the worst 8,400. On the upside, you're seeing somewhere between 9,500 and 10,000 as the resistance. And we will remain in this zone for quite some time, at least for the next 2-3 months. That's what is.
So there are chances, sorry to interrupt, but there are chances that we might see an upward breakout up to 10,500 also. But there are less chances that we go below 8,400 for at least 2 to 3 months from now.
Great. So this is Nifty, Dipesh. Basically, I'll just try to also get a bit of Hindi into it because we may have some people who are more comfortable in Hindi. So, जैसे अभी Nifty तो जैसे Dipesh आप भी जानते हो ये large cap का index है जहाँ पे you will find the big names like Reliance, etc. But ये जो छोटे stocks है जो basically Nifty mid cap में और Nifty small cap में आते हैं, तो क्या 5 मिनट 10 मिनट एक वो समझा सकते हैं कि छोटे कंपनीज जो
so if we have an index for Nifty mid cap, 100 you're talking about, right?
Mid cap 100. हाँ.
Yes. So
Because ये
exactly.
छोटी कंपनियां जो है वो सबसे ज्यादा इफेक्टेड है आज की डेट में कोरोना से. बड़ी कंपनियां तो फिर भी पैसा वो लोग रेस कर लेंगे, कोई राइट्स निकाल लेगा, कोई डिबेंचर इशू कर लेगा, लेकिन छोटी कंपनियों को पैसा कौन देगा? तो वो सर्वाइव होंगे कि नहीं होंगे, ये एक सबसे बड़ा प्रश्न है.
So ideally, small cap has, if you see the whole chart, the retracement on the small cap has just been 38.2% from the lows yet. So the strength compared to Nifty is still very less in terms of mid cap is concerned. I'm not talking about small cap first, I'm talking about mid cap are concerned. The mid cap index is not showing that very much strength as much as the index Nifty is showing at this point of time. So at until unless I don't we don't go above this levels of 13,600, 13,700 levels, which is around 5% higher from here. I would recommend people to buy a little expensive from here because the valuations are very, very low at this point of time, what I understand. So कोई एक 10 रुपए की चीज ऑलरेडी 4 रुपए में मिल रही है, 4.5 में मिल रही है, तो I'm telling you, go ahead and buy it 5.5 रुपए, 6 रुपया. Don't buy it, try to buy it at 4.5 रुपया because there are a lot of cycles and themes which are changing in terms of mid caps and small caps are concerned. So for that reason, I don't know what will move, what will not move. What it is showing here on the index front clearly is that it is underperforming index right now, and it will only pick up strength after it goes above levels of 13,700 from here. So still stay on the heavyweights because the decline will be minimum. Mid caps and small caps, I would recommend people to buy a little expensive from here, but on the index front, buy on dip strategy can be done, and on the small cap and mid cap front, buy on rise once the strength is confirmed is the strategy what I would recommend people to do.
ओके ग्रेट. सो मिड कैप स्मॉल कैप से करंटली हमारे दीपेश भाई का ये कहना है कि दूर रहिए. अगर वो बढ़ते हैं, स्ट्रेंथ दिखाते हैं, तो ही उसमें एंट्री लीजिए, नहीं तो करंटली फोकस कीजिए लार्ज कैप स्टॉक्स पे जो कि जिसमें स्ट्रेंथ ऑलरेडी दिख रही है और जिसमें आगे जाके और स्ट्रेंथ आ सकती है. ग्रेट. अभी नेक्स्ट अभी हम लोग सेक्टर वाइज देखेंगे कि कौन से सेक्टर में स्ट्रेंथ है और कौन से सेक्टर के अंदर में एंट्री लेनी चाहिए. एज आइदर आप इन्वेस्टर हो, ट्रेडर हो, पोजिशनल ट्रेड करते हो, इंट्राडे करते हो. सो अभी हम लोग नेक्स्ट पूरा टाइम जो स्पेंड करेंगे सेक्टर वाइज देखने जाएंगे कौन से सेक्टर्स, कौन से स्टॉक्स में काम करना चाहिए, कौन से सेक्टर्स में काम करना चाहिए. सो बैंक निफ्टी जो है वो एक सेक्टोरल इंडाइस है जो सबसे बड़ा सेक्टर भी है, जिसका वेटेज भी हाईएस्ट है आज के डेट के अंदर में इंडेक्स में. सो लेट्स स्टार्ट विद बैंकिंग स्टॉक्स और उसका इंडेक्स विच इज बैंक निफ्टी. दीपेश.
सो सब हमेशा बोलते हैं ना कि हमेशा एक ही गुंडा होता है. सो दिस द ओवरऑल फॉल, द कल्प्रिट ऑफ द ओवरऑल फॉल वाज दिस इंडेक्स. बेसिकली द फॉल ऑफ दिस इंडेक्स from levels of 32,000 till levels of 16,000 on the lower side. So he is only responsible for Indian markets. It's clearly seen, and it is still underperforming markets. So if you tell me, I would still avoid banking at this point of time. Maybe a 2-3 heavyweights from here might just look to accumulate. Apart from that, I would still avoid banking at this point of time too, until and unless we go above this levels of the recent high, which is 21,300 levels. So for now, for the month of May, if somebody is asking me, 21,400 and above call writers or 21,500 and above are good levels. You can sell calls. I don't think we are going above those levels in the month of May in Bank Nifty is concerned. On the contrary, one more strategy, that is buy Nifty and sell Bank Nifty. It's a pair strategy, which I think Manoj Bhai knows it a bit better. I think that also can be initiated if you just concerned with if you just have a word with Manoj Bhai. How can that be done? I think still this will remain underperformance. The underperformance in Bank Nifty will still continue to remain. On the lower side, it still has a room up to levels of 18,000, means which is around 1,700 points, which is 10%. There's still room that the index can still fall. Which for example, 8,400, what I'm looking down for Nifty is similarly 18,000 is what I'm looking down for Bank Nifty. Should be a very good support area in terms of Bank Nifty is concerned. But still, in the overall structure, the staggered rise is also, there is no rise only in this index from the low. So I don't think so one should aggressively or on a positional basis also look for Nifty Bank also to put it in their portfolio or trading perspective also.
ओके दीपेश, सो एक काम करते हैं, जैसे आपने कहा कि निफ्टी बैंक के अंदर में सिर्फ स्ट्रॉन्ग जो बैंकिंग स्टॉक्स है उनके ऊपर में आप फोकस कीजिए। तो आज के डेट के अंदर में 4 स्टॉक्स सबसे स्ट्रॉन्ग बैंकिंग में गिने जाते हैं। तो जस्ट उन 4 स्टॉक्स के बारे में अगर आप शॉर्ट में बता देवे, एक्सिस बैंक, एचडीएफसी बैंक, आईसीआईसीआई बैंक एंड कोटक बैंक।
Okay, I'll start with HDFC Bank one by one. Okay, so if you see this, the rise of HDFC Bank has been more than the rise in Bank Nifty. So if you see this rise of the fall, I'll just show you this. It has touched 50% like the Nifty one. Whereas if I'm just going back to Nifty Bank again, can you see how steep is this fall? And the 50% retracement is here. We are nowhere close to 50% also. So by here, what I mean to say is that this is a strong contender in terms of Bank Nifty is concerned. So if somebody wants to go ahead, and which is very evident also because it has, despite of his weightage being very high, despite of his strength being very high and pulling the Bank Nifty up, the Bank Nifty could not go up, clearly indicating that the weaker hands of Bank Nifty, like maybe Axis Bank, maybe some IndusInd Bank, are still not somewhere performing in the index, and they are dragging the whole index down and keeping the index low. But one thing is for sure, if there is a buy on dip strategy that can be done, I think HDFC Bank for levels of somewhere between 880, 860, 840. These are the 3 levels in between. Positional longs can be created for the targets of 1060 for 2-3 months perspective on this particular chart basically.
And what about the other couple of other banks in?
So I'm going on the Axis Bank because I think it's fallen. So the fall. So if you see, the rise goes up very fast, but the fall also initiates it also very fast. So it is always always better to buy these banks a little expensive. So if somebody tells me what level I would look for to buy Axis Bank, so this is a level, 460 is the level above which I will go ahead and buy Axis Bank, not before that. So I would avoid Axis Bank at this point of time. Maybe it might be carrying a lot of fundamental value, but on the charts perspective, I think it's still underperforming the overall index. Today's candle has shown a very good reversal candle though. So if somebody wants to create trading longs, so with today's low is 364, 364 can be an important level for Axis Bank. With 364 levels on the Axis Bank, one can trade for targets of 420, 430, just trading perspective, not on positional perspective, but on the positional perspective, 460 is the level above which one should go ahead and add it in the portfolio.
And what about ICICI?
Okay, just 1 minute. I will just use one word for ICICI. Till now, there's no clear picture on what exactly the next pattern would pan out to be. So for now, just try to avoid ICICI Bank. An important level to watch out above which this can actually go up is 380 levels. It has formed a double top pattern here, and I think 380 level is an important level above which one can go ahead and look for buying opportunity at ICICI Bank. So at present, it's in the no trade zone, and ideally, if somebody wants to create a pair strategy between ICICI Bank and Axis Bank, so one can basically short ICICI Bank and go long on Axis Bank in terms of trading perspective.
ठीक है. अच्छा, now
A
let's come to
I'm talking about small actionables also.
yeah.
So I would just request Darpan or anybody to just note it down along with it so that we can share it
Yeah, no,
across.
we are recording it, so we can make a small action point after this and share it with the participants.
Okay.
Don't worry.
Yeah, good.
Okay, just a quickly, lot of things have been talked about the stress in the NBFC sector for the last 2 years. So let's just spend a few minutes covering only 2 NBFC stocks so that we can look at Bajaj Finance and HDFC. These are the 2 largest NBFCs currently listed on the market. So if you can just give you a quick view on Bajaj Finance and HDFC.
Okay, Bajaj Finance is in its last leg of fall basically. How long will it take? It's very difficult to basically judge that. So a very simple way to when to buy Bajaj Finance is about 2300 levels simply. So one, if somebody wants to trade, if you've seen the overall banking chart also, so we've seen retracements at least up to 38%, but this is going down in a very staggered manner. I don't even be surprised that we might see another leg lower before breaking these highs. So I don't even be surprised seeing Bajaj Finance at 1500, 1700 levels also if we don't breach these levels of 20 to 2300 on the higher side. So only buying recommended about 2300 levels, not before that. Yes, can be done for trading as well as portfolio wise, but only about 2300, not before that. On the lower side, there is a possibility a leg downside also can emerge, which can take down the stock to levels of maybe 1 minute. I'm just seeing a higher degree. The next support levels are too low. I don't know whether so consider it around possible that if we break the recent lows of what we formed today or maybe a few days before. So I think 1600 can be levels what can be seen on Bajaj Finance basically on the stock.
What about HDFC?
HDFC. Automatically, as soon as you see charts, so you will automatically understand what is outperformance and what is underperformance happening in which stocks. So basically, it is the stronger hands which act very aggressively at this point of time, which is the institutions, FIIs, domestic institutions, and everything. So clearly, I don't think if you see the chart of HDFC Bank and Axis Bank, you will see the clear divergence of how outperforming HDFC Bank is doing. Similarly, I think would be seen in Bajaj Finance and HDFC Limited. So if you see, the Bajaj Finance chart was dragging on the lower side, whereas this is on the flat and it has given an upward breakout here right now. So until unless, so it's kind of a flag pattern which has achieved its target on the higher side though. So trading perspective, the rise is done basically. So trading perspective, I will not recommend anybody to buy this stock. And positional perspective also, this stock can be accumulated to the levels of 1560, 1550 levels on the lower side with a stop loss of 1450 on the lower side and can hold this stock for a rise of at least 2000, 2100 for the 2 to 3 months perspective. But comparatively, this is a stronger chart compared to Bajaj Finance. So avoid Bajaj Finance and one can basically see HDFC. But if given a choice of whether to buy or no, so I will avoid, there's a possibility I might avoid both at this point of time.
ओके सो मतलब ये कहना है कि एनबीएफसीज फॉर नाउ अवॉइड करो. अगर बैंकिंग में ही खेलना है तो बैंकिंग स्टॉक्स में लुक एट स्ट्रॉन्ग हैंड्स लाइक एचडीएफसी rather than looking at NBFCs like Bajaj Finance or even HDFC.
Absolutely, because the overall structure of the financial sector, looking at Bank Nifty, it's not even showing strength compared to Nifty. So trading perspective, so there are a lot of counters which are already showing strength, and it is better to trade those counters. Positional perspective, I think buy on dip karna hai, so it is always better to have a very strong counter like
Dipesh, in your outlook also cover like a little long-term basis also, as we have few people who are not like a regular trader but like a long-term investors also. So
see, honestly speaking, nobody anticipated a fall of 40% from the highs. So when we talk about a long-term structure, honestly speaking, it's the probability of those long-term structure getting exactly as told. The probability becomes a little tricky. So I might speak about, it's very easy. It's a no-brainer that on a long-term perspective, HDFC Bank is a no-brainer buy for everybody on a follow-up dip. It's better that we review it every month, since we do this meeting every month. From a month's perspective is something what would matter much. But I'm trying to cover something from 2 to 3 months perspective also, and I'm writing down and giving down certain levels where certain stocks can be accumulated. Like HDFC Limited, I've just mentioned, 1550 till 1600 is a good level one can accumulate for people who are basically looking down to put it in their portfolio. And because I don't think so, these are those stocks which are going to zero. So we are just want to see those levels which are good levels which we can accumulate in our portfolio. So I think 1550, 1600 and levels is a good level for HDFC. At present, I would still recommend HDFC Limited to be avoided.
Okay, perfect. So now one sector, which is the sector which has been the talk of the town for the last 1.5 months since the coronavirus entire pandemic started, is the pharma sector. So if you see, everyone in the pharma sector today is moving, the stocks are moving, everyone is bullish, everyone is saying that globally a lot of spending will happen in pharma. So go and buy pharma sector stocks. So let us now spend time understanding what the pharma index is looking like, and maybe look at 3-4 good stocks in pharma, and maybe whether they are worth buying at this levels, or wait till the entire euphoria which has happened in the pharma sector in the last maybe 5-6 weeks little subsidizes, and then maybe enter into stock. So yes, Dipesh.
So basically, the whole pharma sector has given a tremendous breakout from its lower levels. So in terms of firstly trading perspective, is somebody looking down to buy in this sector, I would recommend to avoid trading in this sector right now, because it's going to be so choppy. The choppiness would basically kill your risk management both ways. If you go long, you will get killed in stop loss on the lower side. If you go short, you will be killed stop loss on the higher side. Plus, if you see the distribution of stocks also, what is going up and what is coming down, it's very weird and very staggered in pharma overall sector. अचानक से एक दिन Dr. Reddy will go 7% up, and that time Cipla will be down 3%. It is not necessarily whole pharma sector at this point of time is going up together. Everybody went up together at this point when the initial rise came. But now it is happening, it is a distribution happening. Sometimes Lupin is going up, Sun Pharma is coming down. Sun Pharma is going up, Lupin is coming down. So in terms of trading is concerned, I would tell people to avoid pharma sector right now. There are people who've asked me also, can we go ahead short or give away our delivery of pharma sector? Firstly, if your horizon is short, yes, you can do that, and you can re-enter those above 9600 levels again. So one thing is confirming it, that if you are a trader or if you want to trade pharma sector, again you can give away your delivery or your trading longs at this point of time, and buy expensive around 5% higher from here. So around 9600 is a level where I would recommend people to go ahead and again reinitiate longs in pharma sector in terms of trading is concerned. Portfolio wise is concerned, I think this is a very good level, which is 8500 level again. You see a gap here. I think there's a small possibility between 8700 and 8500. This is a zone where people can look out and buy pharma sector in the portfolio. And that is a level where people can sit back and enjoy returns of around 20-25% from 3 to 6 months perspective in pharma sector. But one thing is for sure, the trend has changed since a very long time. It has given a good breakout from the lower levels. RSI has confirmed the same. If I see the weekly charts also, the trend lines have confirmed that we are going to reach to this level maybe from the 6 months perspective very soon. So this is a very good trend line. Since a very long time it is broken on the higher side. This is what targets what I expect maybe in 3 to 6 months perspective in pharma sector, which is around 10,400, 10,600 levels. But this is not the level to go in buy in the sector. 8,500, 8,700 is a very good level to go ahead and buy pharma sector at this point.
So basically, to summarize, buy on dip in pharma sector is what you advise for someone who is already currently long. Either if he has the risk profile to hold it, he can hold it even if the fall comes. But overall, the view is bullish on pharma, like what everyone is expecting. that it is a sector which can make money in the next rise in the market which will come.
Right.
Okay, so any particular stock in pharma that you like? Because instead of I asking you 4-5 stocks like Oro Pharma, Cipla, Divi's Lab, Dr. Reddy's, Sun Pharma, do you have specifically any stock that you would love to advise people to add in their portfolio?
Okay, so perspective from portfolio side, Dr. Reddy is out of question right now. Dr. Reddy at levels of 3400 is a good buy according to me. So avoid Dr. Reddy. One can give away their deliveries also, I think, in Dr. Reddy, because majority of the rise is already done. Sun Pharma has just come out of its uh, important zone at this point of time. Just hold on for a second. But it has been so famous of breaking down all rules and regulations of technical analysis, and it has basically uh, made us wrong and proven us wrong so many times that people have started losing faith on this counter only, basically. So ideally, this is an important level where Sun Pharma is trading right now. So with a very conservative stop loss on weekly basis. So 440, if anytime we see a close below 440 in this stock, I would recommend people to exit for any trading longs which are created. Otherwise, at this point of time, I think Sun Pharma is one stock where people can go long at this point of time with 440 uh, level as a strict stop loss in it. Lupin, actually, Manubhai, they've already started their rise basically so much that the breakout has confirmed. There is a possibility that they retrace back and then they take time and then they go for the next rise basically. So
So basically,
ideally,
yeah, please go
yeah,
ahead.
any fall in avoid Dr. Reddy. So in terms of Sun Pharma and Lupin, any fall towards around 5 to 10% fall if they see from current levels, it is a buy on dip sector, and it has already confirmed. The RSI is also confirmed. The candlestick has also confirmed the next trend, the start of the next trend. So every dip, the pharma sector can be seen as a buying opportunity. Option traders know how to capitalize this. They can keep selling puts at lower levels below which they are ready to take their deliveries. I think Manoj Bhai can again guide you better on that. Lower levels in terms of Lupin is concerned, 750 is one level where people should look for Lupin to buy basically in their portfolio. Basically.
Okay, great. So pharma sector, we will now wind up and move to the next sector, which is again in a very big limelight, and which is technology. Because you and I are all now locked down for a very long time, almost been like 50 days at our home, and we are all working from home. And therefore, we all now understand the value of technology. The very fact that we are all right now on Zoom talking to each other itself says that technology, the way it has been a boom for the last 20 years, this boom is not ending anywhere soon. So, but whether there will be any opportunities for people to make money in IT stocks by investing is something we will like to understand from Dipesh. So, Dipesh, you go ahead.
So it is actually very tricky if you see in terms of where it is trading right now.
This is a Nifty IT
Exactly
index, right?
speaking, yes, this is a Nifty IT index. Exactly speaking, firstly from the trading perspective. So firstly, let me tell my background. I am a hardcore trader. I can go down to scales of 5 minutes to trade something, and I can trade every minute in the market. So I'm a hardcore trader. Firstly, that doesn't mean my positional views are bad, because you all have just seen a demo of the Nifty targets which happened in April. Just kidding, but I'm a hardcore trader, so I will always first support and be a little biased towards all the traders who are there in the group. On the IT index, exactly where the bottom has formed today is a very important support level. Only below today's level, which is 13,200 levels, the counter can get weak, and we might fall at least 50% from where we rose. Just hold on for a second. So 12,600 is the second support which people can see. But for me, trading longs can be created tomorrow morning only in this index. So I think we'll see a couple of stocks which might show strength in this index for in terms of trading is concerned. Uh, 13,400 is where I'm recommending long in this index, with stop loss of 13,200 strictly from trading's perspective. And how far it can go, at least levels of, I think if this gap is also taken out, at least 11,000, 14,200, which is around 7%, 6 to 7% rise from here with a very small stop loss, 1 to 2% stop loss. I think it's a very good bet to go trading longs on this index. If it falls below 13,200, look for accumulation near 12,600 levels in portfolio. I think that would be again a good bet in terms of the index is concerned.
Just to make people little bit understand the correlation between the index and the stocks. So basically what we are trying to do is that we are trying to first take an overall view on the sector, and then we are trying to drill down and see the top 3-4 stocks in that sector. How and where should one try to do an action, because a lot of times these indexes are not really tradable, except for Nifty and Bank Nifty. Most of the other indexes are not liquid, so you probably will not be able to buy and trade or sell any of these indexes because of the no liquidity being provided in those indexes. But you at least will have an idea about which sector is the one which is having the strength, and therefore look at individual stocks in those sectors. So Dipesh, can you just tell us between the 3 big names in the technology sector, which is Infosys, TCS, HCL Tech, Wipro, what is something that investors should look at and traders should look at?
I don't know whether people, I've seen a tremendous movie, NIIT Technology, today. But starting with TCS, so exactly it is the replication of the whole index. So TCS chart exactly standing at support. If it drifts down below levels of 1890 tomorrow also, this index can see weakness up to levels of 1800 levels. Then I would tell people to get out. So basically 1890 is a very important level on the lower side for TCS. And I think if I would be a person who want to trade any of the IT counters, I would have taken a TCS futures only long tomorrow with a stop loss of 1890 on daily closing basis, and I would have traded for targets of 100 points up. So basically, first target would have been in 1960, second target would have been around 2020 on TCS in terms of trading is concerned. Positionally, I think if it falls below 1890, 1800 is a very good level again TCS to accumulate this stock. Everything with a stop loss of 1720, which is this swing from where we started this rise. So this is a very important level for TCS for holding longs basically positionally. Option writers 1750, anything 1750 and below puts, I think for the May series is a good sell opportunity. With stop loss 1720s would be the stop loss recommended on TCS for May month basically.
Just Dipesh, just coming back to the sector as such, if you look at the entire market, the way it has reacted, and whether the way Nifty has fallen and Bank Nifty has fallen, if you look at comparatively, the IT space has not really come down, because even if you look at this TCS, I mean, if it is not really something which has given away 30, 40, 50% of its value as compared to the overall market. Because if you look at the recent highs, it was close to 2,200, 300, and we are still trading at around 1900s. So we are hardly down by about 15, 20% in most of the IT stocks. So even Infosys probably, if you pick it up. So do you think that these stocks are like more like a defensive ideas, and someone who is not wanting to take too much risk in the market today? Have you lost, Dipesh?
No, I'm there. I'm still there.
Yeah. So someone who doesn't want to take too much risk in the market today, from that person's perspective, if I would say, should he rather move from banking to IT and try to allocate some funds into these large IT companies, because the downside, as you said, is very limited. Maybe on the upside also, they don't move as fast if the market moves back in a higher trajectory like Bank Nifty or Nifty or banking stocks. But at least it will be sure that his capital may be not at risk, like what may be in case if he invests in any of the banking stocks. What is your take on this?
So basically, we've seen Nifty chart already. So it has shown its outperformance of the rise. It is because of these few sectors only, which is pharma, IT, FMCG. They are now, so the term defensive changes with time. So now these are okay. So these are one of the few sectors now which have been defensive. Out of the most defensive, if you ask me, pharma and FMCG would be the most defensive. Followed by IT basically, because they have a lot of exposures to US, and they are showing strength mainly because of the dollar, I think. That is on the fundamental side. Though let's not get stick to it. What I'm watching right now, the rise from the overall fall has been very fast on this index. From 1500 to 2000 levels, it has come in no time. Where the index have only moved up 50% of this overall. So automatically confirming the strength of the same. So it is always a no-brainer to buy something which is uh, uh, outperforming the benchmarks and basically staying with all those large institutions which have been continuously buying with every fall in this index. So it's a no-brainer. Basically, at every fall, these are the few sectors and stocks which you can accumulate and put it in your portfolios.
So let's not now get any other stock on IT sectors. Let's straight away jump to the third sector that you talked about, which is basically outperforming the market, which is the FMCG sector. Now, can you just see what in FMCG would be something that one should really look to buy or invest?
When basically, just a small saying what my mom told me one day when we were falling 24th, 25th March, we were standing basically. Okay, when everything was falling together, including IT, pharma, everything was falling basically before the lockdown was announced. But people were aggressively going out and buying things. So since the day the lockdown was announced, the first sector which basically rose was a no-brainer that people ने biscuit खाना तो छोड़ा ही नहीं, तो Colgate brush use करना छोड़ा ही नहीं, and these are the few things which people have started consuming even more staying at home. So it is more of a normal thing that anything on the FMCG side, you get it at lower levels again. So if you see this rise, so it is already standing at 50%. So I think anything below 50% and between 61%, which is 26,600 and 25,800, this is a buying zone for the whole index on the FMCG side. Again, this is a very good zone, and again we might see levels of 28,000 in a very shorter duration only. I think maybe in the May itself we see levels of 28,000, 28,500 on FMCG. So I think it's a good sector to trade also in terms of and it's a good sector to invest also in terms of longer time perspective is concerned. In terms of individual stocks, if you want me to see, I'll just see
Just
Hindustan
like check with
Unilever and
Hindustan
ITC,
Lever, yeah, Hindustan Lever, and
I
maybe
will cover ITC also because that has been not supporting the index that much. So let me see the retracement of Hindustan Unilever. So these are the levels 1959, 1940s. 1960, 1940 is a very good level on Hindustan Unilever. One can go ahead and put it in the portfolios. 1750 is one level which the stock should not break on the lower side. Maybe see, despite of the sector showing strength, the individual stocks can basically just get decoupled from the overall sector and it can basically start underperforming because of the internal problems in the company. So there always has to be one level on the lower side below which you should not be comfortable holding the stocks for a longer perspective. So 1750 would be a level where I would not be comfortable holding Hindustan Unilever in trading as well as portfolio perspective. Trading perspective and portfolio perspective, 1940, 1960 is a very good level for the counter to go ahead and buy. Even I won't even mind buying little bit in a staggered manner from the current levels of 2000 only up to levels of 1940. Upside, what I see as target is 20 to 50 on the safer side for the month of May itself.
Okay, so you were saying something about ITC. So can you just tell what about ITC, or
okay.
even look at something like a Colgate or a Britannia or a Nestle? Any of the stocks that you would want to look at?
So the main reason basically ITC is not going up is because of their cigarette business, I think, probably. Okay.
Yeah, because just like what government did, they could levy 70, 80%, 100%, 150% cess on cigarette, alcohol, and petrol, and all these sectors where the consumption is inelastic to the price, because people, irrespective of what price you may ask, people would be ready to spend on alcohol. And we have all seen that in the last 2 days, the type of queues which have been there outside the alcohol shops as soon as they have reopened. And obviously the government had to shut down again, that in Mumbai at least. And in spite of levying 70%, 80% special cess, there people are just buying because they're all inelastic products where the price does not matter. So if someone wants to smoke, will still end up smoking, and someone who wants to drink will still end up drinking. So with all this background, the I think ITC is one stock which can still be looked at.
Not really. I think it is in a downtrend from a very long term, and I think it will still continue to remain in a downtrend. It is always better to buy something which has fallen so deep, because every fall would be like और कितना जाएगा, और जब भी और कितना जाएगा कोई भी बोलता है ना, तो always remember Tata Motors. Okay, so I think ITC is one of those stocks again. There is nothing called as or kitna jayega. It is always better to buy expensive. I will buy this stock which if it goes above 180, 190 levels. For now, 190 is a very good level to sell calls if somebody wants to give away their delivery above 190 levels. If somebody already has the stock, I think they can also sell it at current levels and rebuy it above levels of 180, 190 if they are positional perspective. Trading perspective, it is very difficult to find where the support the counter can found. So I would basically, if I'm holding any long trading perspective in futures, and I would ideally shift to something called as Hindustan Unilever from this counter, and I would not trade ITC, despite maybe it might outperform, but still I find a little bit more risky holding longs in this counter trading perspective. Positional perspective, they can sell 190 and above calls against their portfolios and try to keep their cost down. And still not very sure about any bottoms which are already been formed or no. We'll see it later, maybe in the next monthly meeting. We'll review ITC again and see whether any good structure in terms of going longs is formed or no.
So I'll end the FMCG sector analysis at this point of time with just stating that good strong names in FMCG sectors are something one should look at. And obviously you've suggested Hindustan Lever, and if there are any specific other stocks that our investors who are on the call today would want to know about, they can obviously put those questions out when we have the FAQ in Hamad. We'll try to take maximum whatever we can. Now come to one sector which is something which most people say will be the most highly impacted because of the fall in the income levels that we have seen among the people due to corona and due to unemployment which may arise out of that, and due to uncertainty of the companies starting up again, is the auto sector. So can we, Dipesh, start look at auto sector and how it has currently been shaped up itself, and whether do we feel that there is some revival possible? Because if you look at the last month's number, Maruti has reported nil sales. So with that type of lockdown that we have today, and everyone sitting at home, and with the type of discretionary income which people used to have earlier, and people could go and buy automobiles, we would not be seeing all of that for a very long time, maybe for the next 6 months. So on the fundamental side, everything looks very scary, but maybe on the if the price chart says something
the
else,
structure, the structure on the technical side, it says a lot of things are already factored in. The way smoothly you can speak about the fundamentals of it itself says that a lot of things might even everybody might know. It's a no-brainer to think about what basic things of fundamentals on the auto sector might have already seen. So I think a lot of things have been factored in this overall index, and I think I don't even see this index going below the recent lows from now. So one thing I can confirm looking at the RSI and the candlesticks here, on a positional basis, the low is already formed, which is 4,500. Okay, now which are the good levels where we can trade? I think this whole sector is going to go into overall consolidation zone between levels of 4,800 and 6,000. It's going to be a broader consolidation in terms of overall index is concerned, and I think buy on dip and sell on rise would be an ideal strategy in terms of trading is concerned. And for investors looking down to buy something on the auto side, I think if you're not in a hurry to get some returns, then you might just look down to buy auto between 5,000 4,800 levels. And but your patience would be highly tested for a longer time, I think, because it's going to go into serious consolidation. I don't even be surprised if we don't see any returns from current levels to the whole year, but we might stay in the consolidation zone for the whole year from now.
Okay. being short of time, I don't think we will cover any specific stock at this point of time in auto sector, because we have taken an overall view over it already. The other sector which obviously has been in a lot of talk of late has been the metal sector, because of the Chinese demand being again revived, because that is the only country which has come back on track and which is not in lockdown. So, and given the huge correction which we have seen in metal stocks already, do you feel that are there any opportunities for traders, investors to make money in metal stocks? And if yes, what specific stock do you suggest?
I think with somebody looking down for a high risk and reward, every fall from the current, basically, let me remove my lines, otherwise people will get confused. I think every fall in this whole sector should be seen as a buying opportunity. It has already completed its B wave. It's into the last leg, which will not go beyond 1400 levels on the lower side. So there might be a pain of time which they might have to see. I think every fall from current levels to the lower levels up to 1400 can be seen as a very good buying opportunity in the whole overall sector. I don't know how much of the negativity in terms of news is still out to come in terms of this whole sector is concerned, but on the technically what I can basically see here, it has already started forming a very good base and it started moving up in a wave pattern basically. So is maximum downside what I see that people should start buying is from 1650 levels to 1500 levels is a very good level in terms of index is concerned. I don't know particularly which stocks are looking very good. We will see a couple of them,
Maybe
but
you
in
can
the
just look
index,
at Tata Steel, Vedant, a few stocks, maybe
yeah, I
Hindalco or
will just
something.
look at Tata Steel, Vedanta, and Hindalco in all that matter. Tata Steel or JSW Steel, I'll just go ahead because I was liking that stock. So, okay. So this is the B wave consolidation basically. The worst that the Tata Steel can see is a leg downside is towards 240 to 30 to 20 levels. I would recommend everybody to basically for all those people who are asking for long-term buying, I think that is something you should look for basically in terms of a long-term buying in terms of which is going to be between 200 and 250 levels, which is going to be Tata Steel because it is a C wave, because we are going to see the stock doubling in no time from the C wave coming back to the mid of the B wave. So supposingly if we go down to levels of 200 supposingly, which is approximately this level, the next rise is going to be till levels of 420, 400 levels of this overall counter. So one stock, if it underperforms from current levels from longer perspective, I'm still not talking about trading perspective, a longer perspective, one should look for to buy metals at every tremendous dip. By tremendous, I mean 10% correction in the markets, the metal will correct 15%, 20%. Go ahead and buy little bit of metal index, Tata Steel in the market. So I think this is the index which is into the last wave of Iliad basically, and every dip should be seen as a buying opportunity in terms of the portfolio is concerned. Trading perspective, anything about 300, the stock will start showing strength. Trade anything about 300 with stop loss of around 270 on the lower side for the targets of around 350 on the higher side initially for trading perspective.
Okay. And any other stock between Vedant or Hindalco you would like to
I'll
cover,
see
or JSW?
JSW Steel because that counter has shown strength lately. No, this has almost a similar structure. We'll see VDL. Avoid sale because it has basically broken its lower downtrend. It might even go further lower sale. So shift your portfolio from sale. Not trading perspective, still not looking good in terms of Vedanta is also concerned. So all from positional perspective, Vedanta or Tata Steel, somewhat everybody has a similar structure. They are into B wave correction, and then the last leg possibly there would be a C, which might end, and then we might move up very fast. It's like nobody is going to get into those levels once this post the completion of C wave starts a new fresh one wave. Nobody gets a chance to buy in that, so it is always better to go ahead and buy slowly in terms of C wave is concerned. So in terms of Vedanta is concerned, if we see a C wave towards 60, 65 again, I think you should start accumulating the stocks for a longer term perspective, which is going to be 3 to 8 months, 9 months, 1 year's perspective.
Okay. So a lot of talk now. Let's move from metals to infrastructure. A lot of stocks are being talked about in terms of government spending coming in to boost the entire activity, which has been currently all under complete freeze. And because private sector anyway is currently in a conservation mode, because everyone's saying that we don't want to spend money because we don't know how the demand is going to come. But there is government for sure would want to kickstart the economy, and for that a lot of spending on infrastructure is expected, not only in India but across the world. So do you see anything of that sort being looked into in our infrastructure sector in India, and specifically any stocks that we would want to look at?
So when you're talking about infrastructure, there is one index called a Nifty infrastructure. Basically, I'm just looking at that infrastructure index. I think it has already formed a short-term top here. So until and unless we don't take out this high of 2800, 2760, 2800, I don't think so. One should go ahead and create longs, and for some matter look for buying opportunities on dips also. So I think there's a possibility that we might form a double bottom near 20 to 2300. Till then, I think it's an avoid sector at this point of time. One can look for shorting opportunity in terms of FNO is concerned in this sector. If any, can you tell me a couple of components in this sector, Manoj bhai?
L&T.
So it has already started its downfall. So, and I would recommend if somebody is trading futures and options, one can short L&T at current point of time with a stop loss of 900 or sell 900 and above calls. In this basically counter, one can look for targets of 700 again coming in on L&T on the May series, or maybe by the June end. So I think still it is underperforming in terms of the overall index is concerned. So I
What about
think
Adani?
banking, post banking, this is one sector which has already formed a medium term top, and they will contribute largely towards the fall towards 8700 maybe in the market.
Okay,
Apart
perfect.
from Larsen, what did you say?
Maybe Adani, but if you don't want, because in the interest of time, because we are already about an hour now, so I would like to
Okay.
actually have this session being opened up for question answer. Before that, I would like to just cover few other asset classes, which is basically USD INR, and then few commodities and few forex.
Okay,
pairs.
let's cover that, and then we keep a open session on individual FNO stocks if somebody wants any view on
Absolutely,
particular.
absolutely. So maybe you start with commodities now and just try to look at gold, silver, crude, copper.
Okay, we will start with commodities. Starting with gold first. So I have recently formed a.
My suggestion is that you could spend a couple of minutes on gold looking at the Indian M6 prices also, because
Okay.
a lot of people who are part of this call may be trading Indian M6 rather than global global
No problem, no
price.
problem.
But
So
obviously global
once we
prices are determining the Indian prices, so you can still look at it.
first let me start with USD INR then. So then post I talk about gold, since I have a better view on USD INR and then COMEX gold, then MCX it will basically
Be
help
easier to
me
flow
out.
into.
Yeah. Okay, so USD INR post this A, B, and C, we have again taken good support near these levels. So temporarily, this is a short-term bottom again in USD INR. Any fall from the current levels on the lower side should be seen as a buying opportunity with this stop loss of 74 on the lower side. So there are high possibility that in May we don't breach 74 levels on USD INR spot, which I'm talking about right now. On the higher side also, immediate resistance what you are seeing on the spot is 75.70. followed by these recent top of 7650. So I think it might be in a neutral to positive, means positive for a dollar zone in terms of USD INR is concerned. Anyone trading or selling options can see 74 and below puts to sell, and on the higher side 76 is a level, 76, 7650, above which they can basically sell calls for the month of May. Not taking a call on June that early, but for the month of May, 7650 and 74 is a level where they can basically see as an option writing opportunity. Going back to gold, on the international front I'm talking about, so it is trading at a very crucial junction at this point of time, and there is a possibility that we might see a leg upside, or we might go down very sharply down from here. Okay, so one thing that will confirm me the same is this level, which is level of 1720 in terms of spot gold internationally, which is trading at 1702 right now. If you can see, it is moving also because it's trading live. So 1702 it is trading right now, and 1720 levels is where I think is my stop loss kept for all the shorts that is created at this point of time. On the lower side, if it falls below this levels of 1680, or that matter 1670 levels on the lower side, we might see a very huge fall. It might crash very badly in terms of gold is concerned. So it is in the final leg of rise. The rise, is the rise over or no? That is a small question. So we are waiting for certain confirmations, a break below certain levels, which is around 1670, 1680 levels on the lower side. Whereas if we see one more leg on the higher side, that will be a small part of the last wave only. So on a very longer term, people have spoken to me about $2,200, $3,000, $5,000 targets in terms of positional longs are concerned. I don't think so. Anything that sort is happening in terms of gold internationally is concerned. The maximum upside, what I think is possible, is 1840 levels, which might, before which only the last wave of gold will get completed, and we might at least go down till levels of $1,380 in terms of a broader positional level is concerned. Going back to MCX levels, I think 46,200, a breach above 46,200 on basically, if you see this trend line, it is basically trying to remain in this trend line zone. A breach above this trend line, which is around 46,200 levels, can take the gold high up to 48,500, maybe maximum up to 49,000 levels. I don't think so in India we might see levels of 50,000 level, despite of rupee weakening up to levels of 7650 also. I think 49,000, 49,500 is maximum what people can expect on the rise is concerned. But before that, if we again fall below 45,000 on the lower side, expect something a crash till levels of 41,000, followed by 38,500 again in markets. So this is one important level which is on MCX, which is 44,800, 45,000, below which the weakness in gold will get confirmed. One can expect first levels of 46, 43,600, followed by 41,000, followed by 38,500 on gold MCX. If somebody is looking down for 2 to 3 months perspective, I for that matter, if for example, in a week's time only we go below 45,000, I think in 1 or 2 months only we might see levels of 40,000 again on the gold M6 is concerned. But on the higher side, if it breaks on the higher side, which is 46,200, we might remain in that higher territory for a month or two. And once just the weakness confirms, then again the target open for the lower side. But in both the cases, sell on rise or a sell below the levels of 45,000 uh, is what people should look for selling gold at this point of time.
ओके सो मतलब सोने के अंदर में थोड़ा सा दूर रहना चाहिए लॉन्ग के साइड से, ये एक आपका रिकमेंडेशन है. क्योंकि
हाँ, so
आपको ऐसा
but
लग
on a
रहा है?
very positional perspective I'm talking, Manoj bhai. Actually क्या होएगा, because there are a lot of gold traders or traders in the sense gold jewelry players also. So उनके लिए तो हर 100 200 500 रुपया भी बहुत important होता है. So if anything on the MCX 46,200 के ऊपर निकल जाता है ना, तो I think people can hold on to their long positions, or they can keep hedging their metals continuously whatever they are selling in the market. But if it is falling down, just don't keep buying at every lower levels at every fall. That is what my recommendation would be. सबका सब भाव मिल जाएगा नीचे के अंदर में. Don't be even surprised to see levels of 41,500 also in no time if it starts falling on the lower side.
अभी बहुत सारे लोग जानना चाहते हैं चांदी में कितना चांदी बचा है.
So this is मतलब this is the bank nifty and nifty basically. The gold is nifty and silver is bank nifty. दो ज्यादा कुछ correlation अभी they don't work though that nicely.
पहले एक इंटरनेशनल
but
व्यू दे दीजिए, फिर बाद में इंडियन व्यू दीजिए चांदी में भी.
So the maximum upside what silver can see at this point of time is $16.50 internationally. I think we will decline to levels of, so supposingly if we even, okay, just hold on for a second. One can expect a fall up to $13.50 if we see a rise up to $16.50. But it is just post a, so it is always better कि मंदी में और मंदी करो, तेजी में और तेजी करो. These are the, अभी सब asset classes का basically situation ऐसा हो गया. It is if you want to play big and want to trade and eat a lot of juice which you want to see. So basically crude कोई buy करके sell किया होता तो you would have been nowhere right now. कितना buy कर लेता, -$37 तक चला गया था. बट वही चीज $30 के नीचे सेल की होती है, $20 के नीचे सेल की होती, तो always with a stop loss obviously, but it is always when you see a trend arising in any of the asset classes across the globe, it is always कि तेजी में और तेजी करो, मंदी में और मंदी करो. It is always like that. So for silver, if you tell me at 1470 would be a very important level on the lower side, below which the fall might arise on silver. Otherwise, on the contrary, the maximum upside what I see is 1630, 1640 levels on the higher side, not above that. On the MCX silver. Okay, go on Manoj bhai, sorry.
तो जैसे आपने इसका कंपैरिजन निफ्टी और बैंक निफ्टी के बीच में किया था, तो जैसे निफ्टी में स्ट्रेंथ रहेगी लेकिन बैंक निफ्टी वीक रहेगा, तो ये जो जैसा हमने एक कंक्लूजन पे आए थे, वैसे अगर हम यहाँ पे कुछ कंक्लूजन के लिए आना चाहे तो हम ये कह सकते हैं कि गोल्ड के अंदर में अगर वीकनेस आती है तो सिल्वर में वीकनेस कम आएगी एज कम्पेयर टू गोल्ड.
Not really, because gold is the nifty and silver is the bank nifty. Okay. I think the fall in silver would be.
वीकनेस आएगी तो सिल्वर में उससे ज्यादा फास्ट वीकनेस आएगी.
Yes. I still.
Dipesh, can you give a little longer term view on silver?
So longer term, I don't think so. It on the longer term also, I don't think so. It is breaching 16.50 internationally.
No, so someone is looking at on a positional basis.
MCX के अंदर I think which is 15 चला तो 10% rise, which is right approx. So 10% rise is 4,000. Around 47,000 is somewhere is the maximum upside level. What I think what the silver can see on the higher side.
So मतलब ये recent high cross करने की possibility नहीं लग रही है सिल्वर में.
नहीं लग रही है. So this is
as compared
the
to gold में जहाँ पे recent high cross होने की possibility है वहाँ पर, फिर भी यहाँ पे नहीं लग रही है.
नहीं. So if we reach silver at 47,000-48,000, gold would be at around 48,000, almost at same levels on the gold. 48,000-49,000 के आजू बाजू ही होगा gold भी.
Okay. समझिए. एंड जैसे दर्पण ने पूछा कि जिसको लॉन्ग टर्म थोड़ा देखना है उसके लिए सिल्वर के ऊपर में क्या व्यू लेना चाहिए?
So too early to take a long term. Long term means 1 साल भी हो सकता है, 5 साल भी हो सकता है, 10 साल भी हो सकता है. I don't know how to define long term.
आप 1 से
Usually
3
we
साल
तो
कर
define
लीजिए.
long term as if हम फंसते तो हमारे लिए long term हो जाता है. So I so long term exactly, how do I define long term? My dad is also into silver business. He also asked me long term and 2 दिन में position काट देते. So I don't know exactly how really should I define. So it is always better to trade with levels. Why to see के 1 साल बाद चांदी क्या लगता है? तो it is like a ज्योतिष का बात हो गया. 1 साल बाद चांदी क्या होता है? मतलब I don't know even I would be there or no. Honestly speaking, looking at what scenarios are going on.
Right. समझ गया.
And
Okay.
it is a no. Usually, long-term investors, if I see, it is a no-brainer for them for a lot of asset class. So, 50 में अगर $40 चांदी था for a long term, अगर उसके जीवन में $40 वापस नहीं आया तो उसके बच्चे के जीवन में आ ही जाएगा वापस $40. So it is for a long term, it is a no-brainer at every fall, I think.
नहीं, बट ये जो बात है ना कि हमेशा कमोडिटी प्राइसेस कभी जीरो नहीं हो सकते हैं या जीरो से नेगेटिव में नहीं जा सकते हैं. ये तो इस बार क्रूड ऑयल ने प्रूव कर दिया कि माइनस में भी जा सकते हैं. तो ये तो बात लॉन्ग टर्म के बात में जो आप कह रहे हो कि वो बात भी सही है कि शायद हो सकता है $40 आपके जन्म में नहीं आवे, आपके बेटे के जन्म में आ जाएगा, लेकिन तो उसका फायदा क्या होगा? उससे आपका काम होगा नहीं.
It's not actionable, honestly. That's the whole point. It's not basically actionable if I tell you कि नहीं हाँ ठीक है long term में मेरे को 3, 4, 5 साल में मेरे को लगता है चांदी 70,000 हो जाएगा. Nobody knows, honestly speaking, what will change in the world in next 6 months. Only nobody knows it now. So for that matter, 3 months का perspective भी लोगों को बहुत difficult हो रहा है cater करने के लिए.
बराबर है. तो इसलिए जो हम व्यू दे रहे हैं, we are talking about views where you can do actionable things rather than just doing theoretical
Absolutely.
on anything.
So exactly when it comes to actionable here, at this point of time, going long on silver is not an option for me, right? I would rather look for a selling opportunity only because the major trend is on the lower side. The fall has already been confirmed. Every rise I would see as a selling opportunity with a desired stop loss in place. So at now this point of time, if somebody is asking me for a stop loss for a sell, so this is my stop loss for a sell basically, which is 44,600 on the higher side for silver. What is the fall I'm expecting? Maybe so fall. I will not short it at this point of time. I will sell it at anything below 41,000 silver. And what is the fall I'm expecting? It is up to 37,000 below 41,000 levels of silver right now.
ओके. सो अभी कमोडिटीज से थोड़ा मूव करके एक बार ग्लोबल मार्केट्स के इंडाइसेस देख लेते हैं एंड देन वी विल जस्ट ओपन अप फॉर Q&A इन नेक्स्ट 2-3 मिनट्स. तो मतलब यूएस के सबसे बड़ा मार्केट जो वर्ल्ड का है वो यूएस है. तो यूएस के एक इंडेक्स नैस्डैक को देख लो या S&P 500 को देख लो एंड देन वी आर ओपनिंग द Q&A.
Okay, let's see. S&P 500 and Dow Jones are almost same actually. Let's see S&P 500.
हाँ, तो S&P 500 और नास्डैक दो ही देखते हैं.
Okay. A lot of people ask me what has happened in US markets are going up. Indian markets are not performing that well. तकलीफ तो सबसे ज्यादा उधर है. Actually, point is they are pumping in money like mad. So that is why the US markets are going up very drastically. I want retracements. Just hold on for a second. So see how strong this is to Nifty. The whole fall, because we've seen 61% retracements. So one thing is confirmed that I think on the US front, 2200, 2100 का जो bottom बनाया is a short term to medium term. So long term, मेरे लिए तो बहुत ज़्यादा long term हो गया. Medium term, what I mean is, मुझे लगता है for the next 1 year, I think a good bottom has already been formed. The maximum downside the S&P can see is, I think, 2440 levels on the lower side from a medium to long term perspective. On the dip side, immediate support is seen at 2640, at which basically people can again start accumulating the index. Above 2953, again the index will start catching strength and see targets of 3100 on the higher side. So basically, in a nutshell, what I want to say is here, there is no signs of weakness in the US charts right now, but it shows a pause in the rise. This is a pause formation basically. So it might just go here, it might fall at least 50% from this rise basically. The maximum fall what we can see in index, like what we can see in Nifty, is the 50% fall, which is 2.5. This is the maximum fall the index can see. So call writers can sell anything about 3,000 calls up and above calls, and puts, in terms of puts are concerned, 2,500 and below puts is what people can basically sell. In between which I don't think there's any option trading opportunity in terms of Dow Jones is concerned.
Okay. And one
S&P is
last
concerned, sorry.
Nasdaq ek dekh lijiye, and then we open it up for Q&A.
Nasdaq.
Nasdaq 100 है.
Nasdaq
100 है. आप शायद NQ 100 देखते हो.
Is it 8981, right?
Yeah.
So it is showing at immediate sell at this point of time basically. If somebody is to tell me if I want to trade something very immediately in Nasdaq, what is the trade which you will take? I will sell. Okay, just hold on for a second. I will sell Nasdaq index at this point of time only with this stop loss here. So 9230 would be my stop loss to sell Nasdaq index at this point of time. Nasdaq index is trading at 8980 right now. The target what I see in 1 or 2 months time is, let me see the retracements exactly again, is 8200 what I would trade for Nasdaq. So 8200 के target के लिए मैं Nasdaq at this point of time I don't see it's worth the risk reward. The risk reward is panning out on the lower side. It might just consolidate at current levels basically. It might just consolidate at current levels and then see a leg lower side and then see a superb rise on the higher side. So one thing the US index has confirmed that it has formed a very good bottom on the lower side. It is just due for a small retracements, which might be 38 to 50% on the lower side, and then they all might see a next up move. High probability they might see an up move on the higher side only, which might go again to their recent highs, what they were trading a couple of months back, basically on the index.
Okay, perfect. So I think we have done with the broader understanding of the market and everything, Dipesh. So I would now request Darpan to start the Q&A.
What I'll do is, whatever questions first are there on the chat, I'll just give a background of the questions. So if you can answer fast, and then we'll open up the mute button so anyone can unmute themselves and can chat. So give only 5 minutes. We can just finish off. There are not many questions. Okay.
Yeah,
I
think Darpan, if possible, all जिसने वो questions पूछे हैं, I think just unmute them and let him only ask me. So let it be interactive.
So what I'll do is, hold on. I'll just. Okay. So now I've given the options. Participants can probably unmute themselves. So Abhay bhai.
Don't unmute everybody together.
Yes.
No. The participant can unmute themselves only. So yes, Abhay bhai.
Okay.
दर्पण भाई, मैं लोकल ट्रेन का मुसाफिर नहीं हूँ, मैं डेस्टिनेशन ट्रेन का मुसाफिर हूँ. तो मैं आई एम नॉट अ ट्रेडर, आई एम अ इन्वेस्टर बेसिकली. सो आई डोंट वांट टू जंप आउट इन अ मंथ और 2 or 3 months. आई एम रियली worried about targets of 1, 2, 3 years because I have already my business, so I am not a trader. So for me, investment is more important than trading. So I think so. I don't have any questions right now.
Actually, no, Abhay bhai, just a small suggestion and just understanding a small thing that being an investor, every level, do you find what is the exact problem do you find buying at every level in a staggered manner? You can buy everything in a staggered manner, basically.
सर मैं गोल्ड का बिजनेस करता हूँ. आई एम अ ज्वेलर. मैंने 6,000 का रेट देखा है, 12,000 का देखा, 18,000 का देखा और 48,000 भी देख रहा हूँ सर. सो सर मैं मेरे इस जन्म में ये रेट देख रहा हूँ, तो मैं हर चीज में ऐसे ही चाहता हूँ, कोई भी स्क्रिप्ट भी लू, इफ आई एम टेकिंग एचयूएल तो मैंने 900 के रेट में भी एचयूएल लिया है, 1200 के रेट में भी एचयूएल लिया और 2400 के रेट में भी लिया है सर। सो मेरा आपका जो बेसिक स्ट्रेटेजी है आपका ट्रेडिंग है सर, और मेरे को ट्रेडिंग में दिमाग बैठता नहीं है सर, बिकॉज आई डोंट नो व्हाट आर स्टॉप लॉसेस। मैं तो एक ही चीज जानता हूँ, अगर मेरे पास आज पैसा है तो मैं लेके रखता हूँ। अगर ऐसा कुछ आइटम आप मेरे को बता सकते हो या स्क्रिप्ट बता सकते हो which I can take, मैं आज इन्वेस्ट करना चाहता हूँ and I want my sons to reap the riches for it.
Right.
That's what my strategy is.
I think it's a no-brainer. The top 10 companies, if you see of Nifty, for some matter, Nifty Bs itself, अगर Nifty Bs का ETF also have given returns of around 11 to 13% CAGR across so much of so long a period of time. So I think every fall Nifty Bs ETF is the best option, I think, because automatically
That's
you are buying the.
That's what I am practically doing. मैंने Mondays को भी buy किया Nifty Bs. Monday को buy किया मैंने.
तो I think जैसे भी surplus liquidity generate होती है Nifty Bs या in a SIP manner, और अगर कि जब भी आज मेरे पास पैसा है तो आज Nifty Bs ले लिया, because it's the fruits of the next generation you are looking for. So it's right. A super value investing at these points, especially at 30-40% lower at the lower from the peak. I think Nifty Bs, there's nothing better than Nifty Bs on the index.
Right. Thanks, Deepesh.
Thank you, everybody.
Next question. Yes, next question.
Okay. Okay. Next question is okay. So now you've sold that HDFC is not gone down that badly as compared to other banking. So can HDFC can be used for future sell-off as a strong counter?
Can you unmute the person who's asked you this?
I'm not sure the person is here.
I won't be able to interpret whether he's convinced with my answer or no until unless we don't talk with each other.
Okay, I am not sure the person is still in the participant list yet.
So we move to the next question.
So we'll move to the next question then.
If that person is not there, so I think whom will I speak to then?
Okay, so we have covered on the silvers. We have covered a lot of things on that. And
I think anybody who wants to ask any questions to me, there's something called as raise hands inside. One can raise hands only inside.
I've opened the mic so they can unmute themselves and they can also ask. Okay, they have one question is, can we buy NIIT at this rate?
From trading perspective or a positional perspective?
Both. Give both.
Reply on both sides.
NIIT Technologies, right?
Right.
So from trading perspectively, absolutely no. Okay. So on positional perspective, it has a room up to 1650 levels. And then again, it might see retracements up to levels of 1100 and 1200 also. So if you are a patient investor, buy very slow at this point of time. So I would not recommend more than 20-30% at this point of time. And 1100 and 1200 is a very good level. You can pump in more 50-60% in this stock on the basically. But still, I don't know, you are looking down for a fundamental long-term buy story, again for 3 to 7 years perspective, then it's a no-brainer. You can put it everything right now. And I am not much of a fundamental guy. So I won't be able to basically guide you on the positional perspective right now.
Yes, this question was basically asked by Pramod Bhai. So Pramod Bhai, you want to ask something?
हेलो कल एनआईटी 18% अप था, तो उसको हाँ आज 18%, तो उसको एनआईटी बाय करना चाहिए अपने को लॉन्ग टर्म के लिए?
इफ यू लॉन्ग टर्म बाय ओके एक्चुअली मेरा ना लॉन्ग टर्म का डेफिनेशन बहुत अलग है. मेरे लिए एक महीना भी लॉन्ग टर्म हो जाता है कितनी बार. बट प्रमोद अंकल, इफ यू आस्क मी, एवरी डिप इफ यू बाय एट करंट लेवल्स एंड एट एवरी डिप अप टू levels of 1100 and 1200 also, you will see levels of 1650 once at least in 3 to 6 months perspective. So agar if you get an ROI of anywhere around 20-25% in the stock, nikal jana agar upar mein. But at this point of time, don't pump in the पूरा पैसा यही भाव पे मत डाल देना. एटलीस्ट 1100 और 1200 के बीच में अगर स्टॉक आता है तो वो भाव के लिए भी कुछ पैसा इन्वेस्ट करने के लिए रख लेना.
Okay. So Pramod bhai, I'll mute him, and we have one more question. Okay. So we have one question: is that can we have a VIX ka chart? You have what is your view on VIX, India VIX?
Very good. Who's asking about VIX?
My question
Please
is on
unmute.
VIX. Manish Chandalia.
Manish bhai.
Nice.
Okay. So Manish bhai has unmuted himself.
Okay. So usually, if you see that if I go, this is the current structure of the VIX right now. I'll just to answer your question, I'll just take you to a back history. What has happened before also. So considering this as a structure, the VIX has a normal tendency to cool off. तो हो सकता है कि वो 10,000 10,500 के बीच में the VIX cools off to levels of 20 and 15 levels. But if you ask me immediately what is the view of VIX, so there is a high chances that we might go up to maximum levels of 50 55 again, and again go back down to 30 25 levels in no time in next 2 or 3 months. So overall, see, I'll tell you what's the sweet spot inside me right now in terms of markets are concerned. I think markets have already formed bottoms. Okay. Similarly, VIX have already formed top. I don't think so. Abnormally, anything is going to surprise very hard to the market, which can take markets further 20, 30 points lower, 40, 20, 30% lower from here. So that is why one thing is for sure, the VIX are not going to drastically go up. It's just going to go up and again cool off, again go up, again cool off. So in the range what you're talking about, so on the higher side, I don't think so VIX reaching 50 55 on the higher side, and it will normalize in a month or 2 months time to levels of 25 30 again, very soon, maybe within a 3 months perspective, and people will start adapting the range whatever the markets have basically have started giving it.
Now, one more question. Now, next question on Bank Nifty. Now, everybody is talking about the Bank Nifty weakness being higher than the weakness which may come about in Nifty. Now, if you
Right.
see the weightage in Bank Nifty, again, the HDFC can only
Around
bring about
30%,
a major
30%
change.
weightage in Nifty is of banks usually.
In banks, 30% is weightage is there. But if you see Bank Nifty, the major component is like HDFC Bank and other
HDFC.
stocks.
Right.
Now,
Right.
if you see the situation, the prices of other stocks, there's not much, I think, which is there on a downside primarily. So can HDFC Bank be used in the future for downside?
Means you're talking about that underperformance in Bank Nifty. So
Yes.
firstly, trading perspective, I'm not recommending banks at all. Avoid banks totally. Okay, from anybody who wants to buy banks in portfolios is where HDFC Bank came into picture, because in terms of other banks, HDFC Banks is looking comparatively strong.
Okay. So this is comparative outperformance which you're talking about, right?
Absolutely. So two things we spoke here in terms of, एक तो निफ्टी तेजी करना है कि बैंक निफ्टी तेजी करना है, तो निफ्टी तेजी करना है. निफ्टी मंदी करना है कि बैंक निफ्टी मंदी करना है, बैंक निफ्टी मंदी करना है.
बैंक निफ्टी अगर खराब करना है तो उसको वेटेज वाली आइटम को यूज करना पड़ेगा. तो अभी समझो अगर बैंक निफ्टी खराब करने का HDFC बैंक वापस सकता है वो.
The draggers would be HDFC Bank, ICICI Bank and Axis Bank in big time possibly. And there is a possibility that HDFC Bank underperforms much higher than ICICI Bank. There is a possibility of that also.
Correct. तो अभी समझो निफ्टी को भी अगर उसको तोड़ना है, समझो निफ्टी को भी तोड़ना है, तो मेरे को तो ऐसा लगता है कि निफ्टी तोड़ने के लिए वो लीवर एशियन पेंट वगैरह को ज्यादा इजीली वापर सकते हैं.
Actually, कोई जानबूझ के तो तोड़ नहीं सकेगा. Actually, there has to be certain logic behind to break something. Today, everybody is talking so much negative, but once I'm telling you very, very honestly what I think, that there is a small thin possibility which is around 10 to 15% that 8,700 से next leg 11,400 तक चला जाए. And people will laugh at me if I speak something like that. That is why I'm not speaking anything of that sort. And people will start forgetting what has happened, and people will start living with COVID-19 in next 2 or 3 months time. So I personally think दवाई हो सकता है नहीं आए. I don't believe that, but people will start accustomed and start living with it. I don't know how is that going to happen, but 15 दिन 20 दिन 1 महीने के अंदर since businesses कैसे चलेंगे क्या नहीं चलेंगे, I have no idea. Just looking at the technical side, I think there are high there's thin possibility that we might form a bottom near between 8400 and 8700 somewhere and move back to levels of 11,000, 11,400 where everyone will be shocked. Today, everybody is talking about only the worst, that is anticipated worst that can happen, because everybody want to prepare themselves in terms of mind is concerned कि इससे बुरा क्या हो सकता है, क्या क्या बुरा हो सकता है. They want to get prepared, but it is not necessary what they have thought actually happens. पता चला everything is back to routine. पता चला कि things have started moving up. दवाई का कोई एक छोटा component आ गया जिससे self quarantine घर पे ही कर सकते हैं. You don't need places. I don't know what is going to come or what is going to help the economy in some matter. पता चला India in big time started pumping money basically. I don't know.
Then I think if your Nifty view has to hold true, the biggest component in that could be Maruti.
अरे नहीं, वो तो अभी it is very difficult to judge कि अभी क्या चल जाएगा. So that is a too early call which I don't want to speak about basically. Now we just spoke about कि every fall में worst fall आने को कहाँ भी नहीं दिखता है. The worst fall what I see is 8700 on the lower side. उसके बाद एक positive side पे जैसा development होता है, फिर हो सकता है मैं गलत हो जाऊँ और straight नीचे चले जाए 8000 तक. So post 8700 I will be very watchful on the higher side confirmations, then only I will buy firstly for trading next targets. So 8700 से 9900 भी जाता है तो भी बड़ा पैसा होता है actually देखे तो. People will not realize it. It's just that जब वो आ जाता है ना उसके बाद वो left out feeling आती है कि यार we did not participate despite of watching it so closely. So ideally we'll wait, we'll trade with levels so that action point रहे, and on the higher side immediately I don't see 9900 breaching. तो 9900 ऊपर के साइड में और 8700 नीचे के साइड पे levels लेके we'll trade accordingly right now.
Oh, thank you. Okay, thank you.
Okay, we have a question from Sandeep Bhai. Sandeep Bhai, can you unmute?
Yeah.
Yeah, please.
So,
go on.
Dipesh, Sandeep here.
Yes, sir.
बस I'm just saying that के index management एक कभी बीच में बात हो रही थी कि index management happening or not, whether it is happening in bank nifty, whether it is happening in nifty. तो ये क्वेश्चन था, थोड़ा बहुत आपने already answer किया when Manish took that part. Second, I had a issue on whether really are the returns being made in this volatility by people who have done delta neutral or traders or vega neutral traders or gamma neutral traders. Really पैसा बनाया, पैसा गया, and are machines taking it over or still human touch is there in markets? So like I put the question on the desk.
Firstly, I'll take your questions one by one. Firstly, yeah. I'll talk about Greeks. So are the people making money on Greeks? So those who have adapted the change have made big money. So I know a few people name, I will not take it right now, but I know they adapted the change basically, and they made big money in this staggered rise from 7,500 to 10,000 levels. So despite we've seen a 2,500 point rise in Nifty, the delta players due to Vega, they have made a drastic and tremendous money in the market. On the contrary, the fall which happened from 12,000 to 7,500, people have lost money like crazy in terms of Greeks are concerned. Because vol players have the tendency to average out their vols in 2 standard deviation, 3 standard deviation, up to 3 standard deviation. And at 4 standard deviation and 5 standard deviation, their stop losses start sitting because of the margins.
Margin ही नहीं रहेगा.
हाँ, margin ही नहीं रहता है. So ideally, when it comes to Greeks, first sort of people, तो जो सब लोग आ गए थे Greeks करने को, thinking that it is so easy money. तो वो एक बहुत बड़ा chunk निकल चुका था. जो hard players, the experienced players who started changing their strategy, they have started making very good money in terms of Greeks are concerned. A simple strategy of a delta neutral kind of a strategy is also working very well. कि near month option selling करके far month buying करने का basically. That is also absolutely working well with people who have just started Greeks and playing volatility and theta right now.
And you can do that similarly on a weekly to monthly. वो भी तो कर सकते हो आप.
I'm talking about weekly to monthly only. Selling weekly and
you said near month to far month. That's it. Okay.
Okay. अभी मेरे लिए near month मतलब near weekly हो गया actually.
Okay.
We have one question from Chetan. Thank you, Sandeep Bhai. I'm meeting you. We have one question from Chetan. Chetan, can you unmute yourself? You can ask yourself.
Hey, Dipesh, hi.
Hi, Chetan.
Hi, thanks for the awesome presentation. I just wanted your views on next Nifty index.
Okay, next Nifty next. Okay.
It's called Nifty Next 50.
Right. Okay. What is the time horizon you're looking down for, Chetan?
Yeah, my time horizon is generally 10 to 15 years, but yeah, you can give a view with a 1 to 3 year horizon.
Chetan के बाद बहुत पैसा
So
है.
ideally, okay, no. So ideally, Chetan, ideally, if you see 21,500 to this shadow, basically 21,500 and 20,500 would be an ideal and beautiful level in terms of a value buying is concerned, for the index is concerned, or the components for that matter is concerned in this index from a longer perspective. Or if you think you don't want to wait, anything which goes about 24,000, you can start accumulating the stocks at higher levels, basically. So two strategies you can adopt at this point of time. One, start accumulating anything about 24,000 in this index, followed by, if it goes about 26,000, accumulate more. Or wait for levels of 21,500 and 20,000 on the lower side and just hold on to the strategy. I think it will consolidate for a few months and then start giving a rise again on the higher side.
Has it been relatively resilient compared to the Nifty?
No, it's almost remained the same, basically. So the components, I'm also very shocked. I don't know who's the Reliance here. So it's being pretty good in terms of Nifty next is concerned. So still better than Bank Nifty though. So somebody has taken the role of Reliance here. It's a if you see, it's a classical cup and handle pattern here. So the cup and handle pattern will only emerge only about 24,000.
But I think Dipesh,
ideally
15% is in healthcare. Healthcare is about 15% of the portfolio.
But I think Dipesh, it is more of a theoretical talk because you can't buy or sell Nifty next.
Yeah, I'm talking about the components also, the heavyweights of it. You will only buy it about 24,000. As soon as it breaks 24,000 levels on the higher side, or the components you are basically tracking in the index, maybe major having little higher weights, you can go ahead and buy it on the index.
Dipesh, sorry, last one.
Sandeep bhai, just to clarify that you can buy Nifty next ETF, huh?
Okay. But not the indices. Okay.
Yeah, Sandeep bhai, we are buying this UTI next Nifty. You can check that out. The volumes are decent. Dipesh, this last one on this Hang Seng ETF. Do you can you just share a view on Hang Seng index?
It has a tremendous high correlation with India.
Yeah. So we're just looking at Hang Seng, Nasdaq, UTI next Nifty, and Nifty as a combination of a portfolio for long-term investors.
So ideally, it is looking comparatively weaker than Nifty at this point of time. So ideally, if it breaks the recent highs of these levels also, I think this is one zone from where it will be dragged down again. So ideally, at this point of time, I would not basically take any trade on the longer or the shorter side also. It is still the trend. It has confirmed weakness here. It is taking support at these levels again. If you see this is the support level which it is trying to take it here. So if it retraces back, it will go here and again retrace back to lower levels again, I think. So again, it is going to be more of a consolidation in this overall index. The immediate resistance has already taken place near these levels for Hang Seng. 24,600, 700 levels is the immediate resistance what I see. So only about this also, the maximum upside what I see is just 1,000 points, which is these levels. So I think in terms of a broader weekly chart what I'm seeing, I think there's nothing for it from 2 to 3 points perspective about 26,000 on the index yet.
Sure. Okay. Thanks for that, Dipesh. That's helpful.
Okay.
Okay, we have a question from Manish Bhai. Why Nifty Bees has such high premium?
It has always remained because it is not asking for any rollover cost from you. Plus, uh, uh, the future Nifty, if you are buying something for a very longer term, so and the 500 points premium, what it is asking for, it usually always remain. So it doesn't go. So if you see the all-time high of Nifty is 12,400, whereas if you see the all-time high of Nifty ETF, it has been 129, which is 12,900. So the 500 point difference, it ranges from anywhere between 300 points to 700 points usually. So that will always remain the ROI calculation differs every time because 500 points on 12,000 index and 500 points on 8,200 index usually differs. I agree totally, but this is how it is. Basically, the AMC which runs the Nippon AMC which runs has certain calculations which he manages in terms of Nifty Bs. So
just one second, I would like
all,
to come in here, Dipesh. Sorry for interrupting you. It is actually the way you calculate is not the way everyone looks at, that you are trying to compare it with Nifty. You should compare it with the NAV of Nifty Bs. And if you compare it with the NAV of Nifty Bs, the premium is not what you are really seeing. It's about 500 points. It will be not more than 3%. And correct me if I'm wrong, Chetan.
Yeah,
Chetan, if you compare the NAV with the price in the market, the premium is not more than 2-3%, if I'm not wrong. It is not the one that we see when you compare it with Nifty and Nifty Bs, because the Nifty Bs NAV would include all the dividends which they have accumulated over a period of time, which is not reflected in Nifty index. Number one. Number two,
yeah, I was
there
about
are a
to say
lot
that.
of
Yeah.
and there are a lot of other revenues which flow into Nifty B's NAV, which is basically SLBM fees that they generate out of the index stocks that they hold and they lend in the market. So there are a lot of other revenues which get accumulated by way of dividend and the SLBM fees, which increases the NAV. And therefore, you would find that Nifty B's quotes at a premium to Nifty because the Nifty B's NAV itself is higher than Nifty. So just if you want to get this confirmation, you can compare it with the NAV on the Reliance Nippon website, on the Nippon Asset Management website, and then see the premium. It is not more than 3%.
But don't you think they have different instruments, Nifty B's NAV and Nifty B's?
It's the same. It's the same
It's
ETF
the same?
which is listed. Yeah. See there. Okay. I think someone did that Google and put the figure also. 97.67. And what is the current price of Nifty B's? Can you just put it up there?
Nifty B's is 98.50, I think.
Yeah. So look at the premium. So the premium is not more than 70 paise.
Okay.
Which is not even 1%. I was talking about 2%. So the premium is not even 1%. So you should not try to look at Nifty B's as compared to Nifty Index. Look at with the NAV, and I think you get the answer there.
Okay.
I hope the person who had asked this question got the answer.
Okay. Anyone else have any question?
So I will have the last question. So if everyone is done with it, I will ask the last question.
Yeah.
I guess we'll just wait for 1 minute if anyone wants to come in. If they're not, then we'll just go on with the last question and wind up.
Yeah. Okay. Great. Thank you, Dipesh. First of all, for giving your valuable time and guiding all our investors. Thanks a lot. So one last question, which is there in every investor's mind, and which I would like to ask, कि निफ्टी 12,500 का जो हाई है वो कब क्रॉस करेगा, इसका जवाब दीजिए.
Okay.
It's a very simple question, but I know it's very difficult to answer.
No, it's not difficult. It's the wave time theory, which, if you ask me, so ideally, it has this ifs and buts basically. Okay, so ideally, if we start moving about 10,000 levels in a month's time again, ideally, then we might not go above the recent highs that easily. We might retrace back of the overall fall of this up to around 11,000, 11,500 and again go back to 8,000 levels. This is the wave count which it is showing basically. तो एक लेग आएगा, if 10,000 के ऊपर जा रहे हैं तो 11,000 साढ़े 11,000 तक जा सकते हैं, and again we will go back to 8,000 levels.
Oh,
this is
achha.
the ABC which is showing. But if we go down to 6,200 levels here, 6,500 levels here, straight from here, where we are currently trading, so it will take double the time basically of the overall fall. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 months. It is already, this is the 5th month, and I don't know how many months will it take to reach here basically. So समझो मैं सोचता हूँ 8 महीने में अगर यहाँ आता है तो we will be back to 12,500 levels in 16 months, 16 odd months basically. So there are two ifs and buts here. So एक है कि दोनों cases में for the next 1.5 year we are not going above 12,500 levels, ये तो sure है. Okay. तो जितना टाइम लेगा वो नीचे का वेव कंप्लीट करने को, उसका डबल द टाइम में वो ऊपर पहुंच पाएगा. इट इज द वेव थ्योरी का काउंट, इट इज लाइक दैट. सो वी विल हैव टू वेट फॉर अ कपल ऑफ कंफर्मेशंस. उसके बाद एक एग्जैक्ट टाइम लेवल वी विल बेसिकली बी एबल टू जनरेट इट. बट फॉर नाउ इन अ नटशेल 1-1.5 साल तक तो 12,500 तोड़ते हुए नहीं लगता है. द मैक्सिमम व्हाट वी कैन गो अप इज 11,400 11,500 ऑन द हायर साइड.
Okay, perfect. That sums up the entire discussion for today. Thank you everyone for joining us, and look forward to more interactive sessions with all of you. Thank you Dipesh once again. Thank you Darpan. And have a safe stay at home. Thank you.
Thank you everyone. Thank you Dipesh.
Bye.
All right guys.